Listen!
Welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat, IGN's Nintendo podcast. My name is Philip Mewson, and today I'm joined with Lily Zaldivar, Miranda Sanchez, and Zach Ryan.
Hello!
How's everyone
dare
doing
you?
this week?
I was just going 3 for 3.
Yeah, you did really well.
Thank you so much. No, okay. Wow, what an excellent start to this amazing episode of NVC this week.
I'm sorry.
Friendship.
No worries.
Friendship.
I liked it. It was a good flow we had going there.
Keep things high pitched.
Cool. So how's everyone doing this week? Everyone good?
Pretty good.
Having a nice week?
You get tired, Zach,
Yeah.
from
Zach?
your trip?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little jet lagged. I finally am kind of shaking it off. I was in Japan for 10 days last week. That wasn't on the show. That's
What a
why.
hard life.
Yeah, it was a long trip, and I'm slowly recovering. But yesterday I was definitely falling asleep in a couple of meetings, and just really feeling the lag. But
Yeah.
See any cool Nintendo things in Japan? At
saw
all?
a lot of cool Nintendo things.
Yeah.
I actually should have I bought this funny Happy Meal toy from Japanese Happy Meals that's Mario on a flagpole, and like you can like adjust like the height of the flag.
awesome.
But he's like this, like he's got like one hand up and like a leg like up, and it kind of looks like he's doing like a weird like stripper thing. I don't know. I love it. It's so weird.
Nice.
Japan, getting free
Yeah.
with it.
Very cool. Well, speaking of Mario, Mr. Mario, have you guys played the Mario Balloon World update for Mario Odyssey?
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Just a few minutes.
Just a
but
few
yes.
minutes?
Not
of
at
it?
all.
Experienced.
Okay, well, I live streamed it on NVC when it came out on Wednesday, or it came out the day before on Tuesday, but I live streamed it on Wednesday, so hopefully you guys caught that. It's a blast. I love it. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It's a smaller update online. It adds like some online functionality where it's not asynchronous, where you're playing with other people at the exact same time. But I mean, you guys know the gist of it. You essentially have to find other people's hidden balloons, or you can hide balloons that other people have hidden, or you can hide balloons that other people can find.
Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, you have what, a time limit, and you want to hide the balloons, and then somebody comes and looks for them.
Yes.
And anyone can come and look for them, or does it have to be your bud?
Well, it depends. Like, if you don't have enough friends who put balloons in the world,
Aha.
then it will like generate random people.
Okay.
But you can also get there's like a code.
A balloon
in the map,
code
a balloon
system.
code, yeah, that you just put that
Oh,
in.
good. More codes.
Yeah, right.
But the code is also super small in like the map area. You have to get a magnifying glass to really see
really?
it.
It's a little tricky
Yeah.
finding your code. Yeah, it's in the stats area,
Yeah, it's in the
right?
stat one.
Yeah, so make sure you check your stats. That's how you find your friend code. But luckily they're short. They're only like 9 digits or something like that. So
Short.
pretty
9 digits. Yeah.
Not so bad.
I mean, it's whatever. You know, at least it's on Xbox code. It's like what, 25 characters
Sure.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I
so.
really, really like this update. It's small, but it holds a lot of fun potential.
Yeah.
Like you get to hide balloons like what you're seeing right now.
If you're watching.
If you're watching, yeah. If like you get to hide balloons, you get to find them within a time limit, and depending on how difficult it is, you get rewarded. But the fun part is that you can how would you say, like you put money in, like you have to pay to play kind of with like coins that you get.
Oh, okay.
It's not real money.
Not real money.
It's just coins. Yeah.
But you
yeah.
pay to play with like the coins that you have, and every time that you do that, the person who created the hidden balloon gets that money. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. It's a good way to grind for coins in Mario.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you still need to
there's-
like unlock costumes.
Yeah, there's
and stuff.
definitely easier ways to grind for coins. Like this is not the easy
Yeah,
way.
I like
but
the whole-
it's a fun way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I like the whole ranking system that they added. So like the more you play, whether or not you win or lose, you still rank up. So obviously you gain more experience if you win, but like you can totally rise in ranks, and the higher you go, the more time limits they give you, and like the more coins you can get paid out with. So it's really interesting. It's obviously a smaller update, but it came with additional costumes, which is cool.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah,
really.
it's always interesting.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have Luigi in the game finally, even though we can't play as him.
I'm really interested in watching like some pro level players hide some
yeah.
stuff in like really devious places.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't
seen
really
some like really difficult ones.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered the possibilities of like just how like where the heights that you can kind of reach until I was watching just then. The little gecko man flying through was like, oh man, you could really mess some stuff up if you get in there and hide a balloon and like, you know, like make really impossible stuff to find.
Yeah.
Well, not impossible because that wouldn't be fun. But
What was the one that Sam was trying to do earlier?
In Mushroom Kingdom, there was one on the top of the castle, but he only had like 13 seconds to get there. So the thing is, like, you can absolutely do this because someone has done it, which is the kind of cool thing. It's like, hey, you're presented with this weird puzzle that you have to figure out how someone else did this, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, the, I guess, lower reward coins ones are easier. And the nice thing, too, is, like, when you hover over a balloon you want to look for, you can kind of look around the map and see if you can see it within your, like, distance. And sometimes you can. And so it's like, oh, this is an easier one. But even sometimes when you can't see it, it's really hard because you have to like figure out how to get there. And like you can kind of practice too before you accept it, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of back out if it's still on your list after you go back in. But you can kind of keep trying to get to these weird areas. And that's really interesting to me because I didn't really mess around that much with it. Like, of course, when I was helping with the guide, I went to a lot of weird places. So I'm excited to use those for this.
Sure.
Use
Yeah.
those skills.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of a nice way to bring you back into the game. It's like, hey, there's like some extra coins. Like you may not need it, but if you want to finish 100%ing all your costumes, like there's a totally reason to come back for it.
Oh yeah.
How many more costumes did you say they added? 4?
I think 3 or 4. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Very
Definitely
cool,
wear the wedding dress when you see Luigi.
Yes.
That has been a running joke all day today.
Yeah. Some funny reactions.
Yeah.
He has reactions to a bunch of different costumes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just really love that Luigi is always like, hey, bro,
Yeah.
get ready to find, are you ready to find balloons, bro? Yeah, bro? It's like,
That's great.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
Luigi.
Yeah, it's like, you need it. What are you
tone it
doing,
down
man?
a little bit. We get it. Mario's your bro. Get it.
What happened? Yeah. Well, in other Nintendo news, did you guys hear that Zelda Breath of the Wild finally broke 1 million sales in Japan, which I think is awesome. I mean, we've known for a long time actually, that Zelda isn't as popular in the East as it is in the West. And it took them a little while. Now I have some numbers in front of me. It says that it sold 871,000 copies on the Switch and 133 copies on the Wii U. So they're combining both Switch numbers and Wii U numbers. Now, if you're watching the video version of the podcast, you can see a graph on screen right now, and it's kind of showing all of Legend of Zelda sales in Japan. From Ocarina of Time all the way over to Breath of the Wild. And this graph is thanks to Ishan from Reset Era, so thank you very much for providing us with that graph. So I just think it's really interesting. I mean, we can see just by taking a look, Ocarina of Time is by far the highest selling Zelda game to have sold in Japan. But then as you go down, you can see that it varies quite a bit.
Minish Cap.
Yeah, Minish Cap.
Phantom
What a
Hourglass.
shame. I love the Minish
I did
Cap,
too.
yeah.
I love Minish Cap. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that Wind Waker sold almost more in its first week than it did in its whole lifetime. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Criminal.
Really?
Yeah, very
I
criminal.
I'm not a big fan of Phantom Hourglass, so I'm very surprised by
liked it.
this.
No, Phantom Hourglass is bad. It's bad.
So I was
I
like,
liked it.
really?
And if you look at like Oracle of
weird.
Seasons and Ages, they obviously combined both
Yeah.
of those together too. So like that's a little telling. But I mean, Breath of the Wild is number 2
Yeah,
on the
that's
list.
great.
So it looks like, the Eastern market is starting to gain a little bit more interest in the Zelda series. So that's exciting. It's pretty cool to see that stuff happening. But yeah, I mean, it's never been more popular here in the West. I mean, people are still playing it all the time.
Yeah,
Me.
it's still on
I'm still
NPD.
playing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I still need to finish all my shrines.
Week over week, it's still in the top 10 games, which is awesome to see.
Still one of our most used guides.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, use our wikis.
Yeah, a lot of
Thanks.
people still playing Zelda on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Have you guys got a chance to check out Doom's motion control update yet?
What?
No, but I heard it makes that game even smoother.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is wild.
Yes.
Like that game is some of the most precise and smooth shooting I think in a first person shooter in years. And the idea that adding gyro support to that motion controls makes it better is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just like another little perk for owning the Switch edition as well as any of the others. I think it's really interesting that sort of upgrade can take a hardcore Doom player and be like, oh, this is totally an incentive for me to give it another run and see if I can do anything differently that I hadn't done previously. So,
Oh, totally. Yeah. I really like using it in handheld mode too.
Sure.
Like handheld mode in particular, because I find that it gives you such a more immersive experience.
Yeah.
If you have the screen this close to your face and you're just kind of like swerving it around, the reticle actually moves with how you're moving it, obviously,
Right.
because it's using motion. And just that whole experience just drives me, or it engages me more with the game itself.
That's interesting because like one of the things that I had a hard time with using motion controls in Splatoon was the idea of like moving the screen around and like the angle at which you're.
Motion controls, yeah.
But I mean, that's like the way to play it. Like
I know,
the
I turned it off
definitive way.
immediately.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Yeah.
It's just not something that's ever really appealed to me. So the idea that it enhances the way that you play Doom is really
Yeah,
interesting.
that's like the biggest surprise to me.
Yeah.
because I feel like that wouldn't work. But I mean, I guess it does. I mean, I believe you guys.
I liked playing with motion controls on my TV using the Pro controller to like fine tune stuff. But the idea of like tilting my screen and then like I'm not seeing the entire thing, like, I don't know, it always kind of turned me off.
Yeah, no, I wasn't always the biggest fan of motion controls either. Like I honestly, when I played Splatoon, I always used the analog sticks or the thumbsticks. But the more like I experiment with different motion controls with different games, like first-person shooters in particular, and now that I've seen it running on Doom, I kind of want every first-person shooter on Switch to have some sort of motion control implementation. Yeah. Like we're going to be talking about Payday 2 later on the show, the Switch version, and that game doesn't have motion controls or motion aiming, and I really wish that it did.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like it really adds that nice precision level. I haven't tested it out with multiplayer or PvP yet, but just using it against like actual NPC enemies works really well for me. So I don't know. We'll see. I definitely have to test it out more, but I think it's great. I think it's fun that Bethesda and id are just still adding content to the game, trying to make it a better Switch game. So, very cool stuff.
Do you think they'll do the gyro controls for Wolfenstein when it comes
now
on?
that it's on Doom? I can totally see it coming, like launching with Wolfenstein.
Yeah, because that sounds really exciting. I'm not the type of person who would play Doom, but I really want to play Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch, and I think with gyro controls, it sounds more exciting and more interactive.
Oh yeah.
So I was just wondering.
Oh yeah.
Do you think it'll happen?
I think that's a good point.
It seems to me like it's like likely a day one thing. If Bethesda's already worked out how to make it work on Doom, then I can't imagine they wouldn't just include it on Wolfenstein as well.
I totally agree.
Thank you, Miranda.
So
Friendship.
I know that there was a Sonic movie announced a little while ago, but
geez.
yeah, I figured since Brian's not here, we could talk a little bit about it because
You just hear him in the background. No,
you're Sonic. So apparently Sonic the Hedgehog will star in a feature film set to debut on November 15th, 2019. Now, it was first announced in February of 2016 with the release date set for 2018, which is this year. But apparently it was pushed back till next year. But the cool thing about this is that the Deadpool director Tim Miller has signed on to be the executive producer of this movie. So, I mean, I love Deadpool. I thought it was great. It had great production.
Yeah.
Now, this Sonic movie is supposed to be similar to the Detective Pikachu movie, where it's going to be part CGI, part live action.
Oh.
Right.
So you think they're going for that Sonic plot line from a game a few years ago where he like dates a real human woman?
God.
I could totally see that happening.
Ooh.
Yeah, they might be going down for that angle. But I mean, I think it's kind of interesting to see this sort of like resurgence or like these bigger franchises coming together, or not coming together, but just coming forth and trying to make movies. Like Nintendo's working on their Mario movie with Illumination.
Right. I'm really interested to see what tone they take, because the last Sonic game was supposed to be like, more gritty. Like that's what they were going for. And I wonder if they're going to...
Talking about Forces?
If they're going to try to go for that, or if they're going to go back to just like more fun and bubbly. And
Well, Sega also saw like
go
tremendous
fast.
success with the Sonic Boom
Right.
franchise, which was, I forget what network it was on, but it was like a CG animated
I remember
TV
that.
show that was really popular for a while, and they actually put out a couple of good games. But I don't know. The idea, I was mostly giving thumbs up until it was like, oh, and it's a mix of live action, because like I don't
see
about all
why
that.
you'd need to do that.
Sonic has kind of like dabbled in that world for a long time though, since like Sonic Adventure back on the Dreamcast, where
Sure.
they just threw him into like fake New York City with real people. And then I have to reiterate that he did date a human woman, which is weird. So, but I don't know. I do like Tim Miller. I think that having him on as an executive producer guarantees that there'll be some solidly decent action, because he's like a well-known action dude before he was directed Deadpool. So having just watched Deadpool on the plane home from Japan, I wonder how much just brutal violence there will be in this Sonic.
I was going to say, I just want to see some chows, but I don't want any brutal violence associated with them.
He just like spins through the middle of people, and I could be into that.
I'm curious who the main studio like that's paying for this. I want to know who's doing it. Just because I know Illumination is doing the Mario movie, so who's backing this idea and going like, you know what, Mario's making a movie. Well, Sonic was making it first, but I'm just like curious to see how this is going to go down. A part of me is so afraid that we're going to get just like terrible old school like video game movies where we're like, oh God, why did we do this? Like, who thought of this idea? And I'm just filled with a sense of dread. I don't know why.
I think that's just the general feeling about video game movies. Like, yeah, any movie that's adapted from a video game, for most part, just like, well, prepare yourselves.
Yeah.
Like, do we know, besides like Tim Miller being the exec producer, do we know anything else about the Sonic movie? Just because they were going to release it this year, but then they pushed it out to next year.
There should be some information out there.
Yeah, there is a little bit more information.
Like, who's voicing Sonic?
Jaleel White.
White. Yes.
Classic.
Actually, I'm not sure who's voicing Sonic. I don't know if that's been announced yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they just got people from the game or the animated series to do it. So
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Just makes a
Ryan-
2-for-2 turn.
Right, like Pikachu and
That'd kill me.
what are you more excited to see, Miranda? Detective Pikachu?
Well, definitely
or-
Detective Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
But are you more
But-
excited to see Ryan Reynolds voice Detective
I
Pikachu
don't
or
think he's a
potentially
good fit.
Sonic?
I think he's a good actor, but I don't think he's a good fit for Pikachu.
Who do you think is a good fit for Pikachu?
I agree with the rest of the internet and Danny DeVito.
Yeah?
It's like, perfect.
That would have been awesome.
Well, Detective Pikachu is like the gritty. This is not Ash's Pikachu. This is like a gritty Pikachu, just out there doing
Yeah.
detective work. Like,
Yeah, he's seen some things. Seen some
works for
things.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's just like having Ryan Reynolds is just an odd choice because I know his humor and I don't think it really fits. I'm sure he can act
It's the
well
same.
enough, but
It's the same sort of thing. Like we were talking about on this show a few weeks ago about the Mario movie. In that, I mean, Mario is mostly a silent protagonist, but in order to sell movie tickets, you need some kind of big name behind your titular hero. So, like Mario will probably have a lot more talking to do on screen in his movie, and it'll probably be voiced by somebody that's relatively well known. Like
Mario be voiced by someone else?
yeah, I would assume so.
Sweet.
Yeah, rather than Charles Martinet, I bet you they recast.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put money on it.
I
Because
think
they need to put a name on that to put butts in seats outside of Mario.
Place your bets. Place your bets now. What are we betting?
I'll say a solid In-N-Out cheeseburger lunch.
All right, I'm in. Let's do that.
I'm in. I'm in. Can I get in?
I'm not taking all of you guys to lunch if I lose. That's
what a bet is.
Lily took it first.
I called
so,
first.
Yeah.
I think Charles Martinet will do the voice of Mario, and if I'm wrong, I will treat you to a sweet In-N-Out meal.
All right, I'm
One
writing this down.
double, here I come.
You heard it.
Easy.
There's-
Actually, I shouldn't be making these bets because I also bet Ryan McCaffrey that Zelda would not launch with the Switch, to which we all know I lost. So, yeah.
You did him.
It took me like almost a year to pay up on that. So yeah.
Well, it's okay. I mean, Marty said he would eat a mug, so
He ate the mug.
True.
He did.
eat
He
the
did.
mug,
He
yeah.
did finally eat the mug, but I mean, it took him a while.
Yeah.
And he also said, "Oh, I'll eat a mug."
I mean, that's fine.
I actually saw him eat that mug. It was crazy.
Jeez.
Don't eat mugs, guys. That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna take our break a little earlier today. Thank you, Zach, very much for joining
sign
us.
off.
He's
Get
got to
outta
sign
here.
off.
Yeah.
Got a very
He's gotta
important thing to
rest.
attend to.
Yep.
Yep. But we will be right back to talk about Payday 2 and the new releases for the week. So stick around. And welcome back to part 2 of Nintendo Voice Chat, where we're here to talk about all of the new games coming out this week and also next week as well, because we're going to be talking about Payday 2, we're going to be talking about Typoman, Layers of Fear Legacy, and of course, we also have some making up to do for Question Block, because I promised you guys last week, since we ran out of time, didn't get a chance to answer all of the questions, I want to make up for it and do a couple extra ones this week. But before we get into all that...
We've got some games to talk about.
Yeah, we do have a lot of games to talk about. I mean, Miranda and I actually got a chance to play Payday 2 for Switch. Yeah, so we got a bunch of hands-on time with it. We played cooperatively online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That co-op.
Yeah, and it was great. It was fun.
It's a lot of learning.
Lots and lots of learning, yes. So also, I did the review for Payday 2, so definitely want to check that out. It's live now on IGN if you guys want to see what the game looks like running on Switch. And again, if you're watching the video podcast, you can see some clips of it going right now. And this is the train level. It's one of the DLCs that we didn't get a chance to play together, Miranda.
Right.
Right.
I did get that goat mask, though.
Yes.
From Goat Simulator, so that was the important part.
Yes, exactly. so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about like what Payday 2 is like on Switch versus like the other consoles and stuff, because I did get a chance to play a little bit of the other console versions as well. But let's focus on Switch for now. So I've been really just dying to pick your brain, Miranda, particularly because you're very skilled in first-person shooters. You know a lot about them, and I would just love to hear what you think it's like playing Payday in handheld mode on Switch.
Right.
Yeah.
I did not like that.
Okay,
So
cool.
the thing with Payday is like there's so many things you need to manage with your controller because you have so many options to like set traps and to gather bodies, and like you're mostly using the bumpers, but when you're not, sometimes having that in the handheld mode just is not ideal. I played the tutorial in handheld mode, and then I was just like, nope.
Yeah.
I think part of that also is that my hands are kind of small, and granted, like people are like, oh, well, the Switch controllers are kind of small. It's like, well, that's true, but my wrists are also small, so like the way I hold my controller for a shooter and how I sit for a shooter is very different from how when I'm playing Zelda or something a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, granted, Zelda does get its own challenges, but just the way I prefer to play those is like very different postures. And I had a hard time just holding the Switch and maneuvering well enough to be as accurate as I would have liked to be.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so as far as the handheld mode goes, I just was like, nope, and kept it docked.
Oh, yeah.
That worked much better for me.
I completely agree. And I don't even think it's the small hands thing because I think I have pretty big hands. And
We have very different hand sizes.
very different perspectives for hands. But I mean, like, honestly, for me, it felt the same. It was a little awkward playing it in handheld mode.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed playing it with the Pro Controller. I think it feels solid using the Pro Controller, just navigating through the world and actually like shooting, especially with the aim assist that it offers, which is cool. It's definitely helpful. But this is definitely the type of game, at least for me, that I would primarily play, like you said, on the big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially too, some of the other differences as well are this version, the Switch version of Payday 2 runs at 30 frames per second.
You feel that.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
definitely
Looks
feel
like
it.
it from. I haven't played it, but
Right.
just by looking at the B-roll, if you're watching the YouTube, it does look at 30 frames per second, and I prefer a 60 frames per second shooter.
Yeah, ideally you want that.
Yeah.
This is my first time actually playing Payday 2. Like I had a lot of friends that were playing on PC, and so I kind of missed the boat. Just sailed off without me. So I was happy to get into this, and you could definitely feel like what the difference would be there.
Exactly. And it dips occasionally, but for the most part, would you say it's steady? I thought it was steady.
Just don't light anything on fire.
Yeah, the fire does,
Those Molotov
Right.
cocktails were not good.
yeah.
They destroyed us.
Yeah, once the action like really gets heated and picks up, that's really when you're gonna see some frame dips. But for the most part, the experience for me was pretty steady. And I think that, I think they did a great job actually reproducing the actual experience of like playing Payday 2 and bringing it to Switch.
Sure. I mean, the novelty, of course, of playing with friends is like the biggest part, right? It's like I had so much more fun playing with you guys than I did by myself.
Oh yeah, exactly. But the thing is, and this is the biggest thing about Payday 2 on Switch, is that there's just no way to communicate with your team through the console itself. So we actually were using Discord to talk about,
Right,
to
Discord.
communicate.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are you guys using Discord? I mean, I'm assuming not Skype, but
no,
Discord would be the
Thing of the past now. Yeah.
The
Mostly
preferred
just Discord. Yeah, and that was fine, but like I did have to have like different headphones on that kind of
Right.
like
mask the
headphones- like
sound of the game a
headphones
little bit.
for
Yeah, like I have over the ear headphones with the speaker, and so that was a little annoying, but I
Yeah.
mean, I made it work.
I'm a little surprised that it's not supported by the like just Nintendo online app, the voice chat app that we have. So we had to resort to something like Discord to actually be able to communicate with each other. But the good news is Discord does work well. Like it's totally a viable way to play.
Maybe they'll update the app, the Nintendo app, for when online comes out or ever. I don't know, because we don't even use it for Splatoon 2. Like we just use Discord. So I don't know what that like app is for anyway.
They've been very slow to update that app. So I'm not even sure what they're planning on doing with it anymore,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, maybe
So-
once the online service, like you said, comes into
Yeah,
play,
maybe
they'll
in
focus a
September
little bit
it'll
more
get
on
better.
that.
Yeah.
And in September we'll get like voice chat for Payday 2.
That would be very helpful. It would be very cool.
I did appreciate that the connectivity generally seemed really stable.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have any drop in, drop out problems at all. Like it was a good experience overall with online play.
Yeah, and the load times too were really good too. You know, the game runs pretty smooth other than like the few frame dips. I will say too, the developers have been very careful with their choice of words about how they talk about Payday's resolution.
Yeah.
Because what they say is that it runs up to 1080p while playing docked. So what I noticed during my gameplay is that there are some slight variations in resolution while playing docked. So I could see that it varies. It's sort of like what Doom is with the dynamic resolution. It goes between 720 and 1080. So you're going to notice that, and some textures might be a little bit fuzzier than normal.
Yeah.
But it's not that distracting, especially when you're playing in actual handheld mode. So
Yeah. It's like the trade-offs. Like you're playing this on Switch, so there's that expectation. They have like let you know that this is a thing that'll happen.
Right.
So I think it's fair so long as you realize that is a difference for this version.
Oh yeah. And it's totally not a problem for me. I personally don't mind it. I think that the trade-off of like, you know, having a portable system that you can take with you on the go is something that I value way more than like 4K graphics right now.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's a dichotomy there between people who like sort of like believe that and then sort of don't accepted that sort of answer from Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I stand more in line of like, yeah, this is a portable version of Payday, and it's pretty much the exact version of Payday that you have on PC and consoles, but it's now on Switch. So it's very cool. Except, side note though, there is the Switch version of Payday is one content update behind the console versions, which is unfortunate. The other console versions are also slightly behind the PC version. So
right, which makes sense kind of, but it is unfortunate that it is it's launching behind essentially.
Yeah.
So
essentially, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's Payday 2. I think it's a pretty good game. If you like shooters, I would definitely recommend picking it up, especially if you're all into online co-op shooters like Destiny or Rainbow Six, stuff like that. But yeah, Payday 2 on Switch. It's available on February 27th. So look forward to that.
Next week. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. But another game that we're going to talk about right now, it's actually our pick of the week as well, is Layers of Fear Legacy.
I'm saying no because I hate horror games.
You don't like horror?
Well, I don't hate them.
it.
I'm just a baby. It's like I have to play with somebody, have all these like very set rules of like, if I'm going to play a horror game, it has to be like 7 a.m. and I'm drinking coffee and birds are chirping.
So you don't like Resident
Daylight.
Evil or
The
Silent
daylight has
Hill
to
or-
be.
No.
No, one time they tried to assign me to do the Evil Within wiki, and I
yeah.
just was like, nope, I cannot do this. Sorry, I'm not. And they're like, oh, okay. Sorry.
Horror games are like one of my favorite genres to play. So-
Yeah.
Horror movies, horror games. Those are.
I'm just a baby. I have a hard time with anxiety, so
Yeah.
sometimes like the jump scares really get to me sometimes, and I have
yeah.
a hard time shaking that off.
Yeah.
So.
Miranda, you haven't been playing this, but
No, but you
Lily
guys
and I
have. So please,
So-
please tell us all about it.
So I started playing today because I was really curious about it.
Jeez.
Yeah, this game, like for the first 30 minutes that I played of it, there's one part where something shattered behind me, and I got like that creepy, like feel up your spine, like, oh, if I turn around right now in this game, like, will there be something behind me? And I know it's in a game and it's not VR, like, it's not actually there, but I was so chilled by it.
Yeah.
It is a weird game.
Yeah.
Like the premise is weird because it's like this painter who just goes insane.
Yeah, totally.
And I love it. And it's kind of makes me think of the Portrait of Dorian Gray, where if you've read it, it's about this painter who, what is the story about? It's like a painter who basically puts his soul into the painting. So he stays young, but the painting, all of the like his misdoings, everything that he does that's evil or wrong, like affects the painting rather than himself.
Right, yeah.
So that's what I think that this game is about, except just kind of creepy in a sense. I'm excited to play it like fully in its entirety, and I'll probably play it at night, and I'll probably be.
I'm just watching this clip. Sorry, if you're on video, like see me visibly recoiling because like they turn around slowly. Like whoever did this gameplay, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I really want to play this like at night, like on a stream, and just be like, all right, we're playing a horror game.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
do it.
the cool
Grab
thing
some popcorn.
with Switch, even though like I say I'm not super into horror games, like, the cool thing is that you can like really bundle up and get it close, because like I know how immersed I get in my Switch whenever I'm playing games. Just have your headphones on, you're very close.
Yeah.
And it just feels more personal that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think horror games are gonna work so well on Switch with Layers of Fear as well. So
Oh yeah.
How did you enjoy it? Because you played it more than I did.
That's actually partly how I was playing this game. Was like under a blanket with headphones on, just like, oh my god.
Fill up in a blanket, like
Yeah.
how do I?
No,
how
I'm
do I get through
actually
this?
I'm really enjoying this game. It's really cool. It's Layers of Fear Legacy Edition. So it has like the base game in it, and it also has the added DLC, which is just like some short additional chapters where they give you a flashlight, which is pretty cool. Yeah, very neat new mechanics. Yeah, I think it's a really cool game. It's a fun exploration horror game. Like there isn't any combat in the game from what I've noticed. There's a lot of opening drawers and doors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
I thought for a second that maybe something weird would happen, but I was like, nope, just opening this door and opening this and looking at this paper.
Well, what's cool though about the Switch version is if you play with split Joy-Con, you can
Yeah.
actually use motion control to like simulate opening a door. So if you're holding your Joy-Cons in your hands like I'm doing right now, you can like actually try and open a door like that.
So like
or
grab
open a
it,
drawer.
twist,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, like you're reaching for the drawer and you pull it out, and it works well. It's pretty intuitive. It's fun, but at the same time, if you're playing with in TV mode or in handheld mode, that actually wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, probably don't do that. But that is
Yeah.
a really cool mechanic to add for that.
Yeah, it's just fun when like devs like think about Switch exclusive features that they could sort of amp up their game
Yeah.
with, and when it works well like this, it makes me really happy.
I wonder if there will ever be a horror labo game.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, I think
just trying to think of how it would
Make an
would
axe.
work. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool, like the robot one where
Flashlight.
you have to like but instead it's an axe and you have to. Or
Yeah, I mean, like there's simple tools, but like maybe there's something you can do with like some functionality with whatever.
that'd be
you have.
cool.
yeah.
Nintendo get on that.
I mean, like
Or
those are the
just
basic things. like
Toy-Con
weapons, but-
Garage, people could just make it themselves,
Yeah.
Make some Halloween Toy-Cons or something. You hear that out there? That would be cool.
Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be neat.
But yeah, I really like this game. If you like horror games, I definitely would suggest picking this up. Until Bendy and the Ink Machine comes out, because that game is also a horror game and it's really fun and it's cartoony and it's amazing. So just saying. Yeah, it's on PC, but just saying.
Cool. Well, another game that has released this week is actually a game that was originally released on Wii U, and now it's on Switch. It's called Typoman. So have you guys played Typoman in the past before? Now, this game is very, very unique. I've never played a game like this before. It's like a puzzle platformer. So you basically run around as this unnamed hero. I guess he's unnamed, but he could also be called Hero because his body is literally made up of the words hero. So if you're seeing it on screen,
that's so cute.
yeah, you can see right now, if you're watching the video podcast, you can watch me die right away. Yeah, my character just totally fell off of a cliff.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and now we're loading back in. But you can see there's some platforming mechanics, but the main hook of this game is really the puzzle aspects. Ooh, this might not be some good footage here that we're watching.
Whoops.
But
Sometimes you grab more clips.
yeah. Yeah, so what's really cool about this,
Hey, y'all should
Ugh.
check out the video version of this.
definitely watch
real
the
good.
video version. Yeah,
I bet
it's
he made it that time.
deaths after deaths. It's very nice. It's like
Zero
Dark Souls.
deaths.
Yeah.
Zero deaths.
Zero deaths for
Zero
Type of
deaths.
Man.
No, it's fine.
No, but no, the hook of this game is the actual puzzle mechanics. So
Yeah.
you find these words that are just sort of laid out around the world, and they're actual words, and you have to rearrange the letters to make it work for you. So you might see a gate somewhere that's shut, and grabbed it. Nice. So
Oh,
here,
my
I'm
heart
actually going to
stopped
do it
for a
right
bit.
now. It actually says on screen right now,
Craft new words.
craft new words, and the gate is closed. So in order for your character to open a gate or to like make it through a certain checkpoint, you actually have to use the according word that would work with whatever situation you're in. So right now I'm like pulling out different word or different letters, trying to figure out what word would make sense to make this gate sort of open up for me. So I ended up using the word down, and that actually worked in this situation. So it's cool. The game offers these different sort of challenges where you have to figure out, kind of like a crossword puzzle, what the right
cool.
word is. Yeah. So it's fun. Like I said, it originally came out on Wii U years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's out on Switch. And if you missed it the first time around and you like platformers with like a twist in there, like some
Yeah.
puzzle aspects of it, definitely check out Typoman because it's a lot of fun and it makes you think.
You know what this reminds me of? This game reminds me of like a more intricate version of Scribblenauts.
Yeah.
And I just love the style of Typoman. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I kind of want to play this game.
Well, Scribblenauts is cool because you can like just put in any word and then
Yeah.
it'll just make whatever you put in
Yeah,
there.
but that's
Right.
why I say it's
Yeah.
an intricate version because it's like more like you have to craft the word out of the things that they have there
Yeah.
rather than like
A little bit more limited.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, you need to create like write a word for something that will open
Right.
door.
Exactly.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a challenging game. So if you like harder games with some puzzles in there, check it out. But another kind of weird, but in a really good way, game came out on Switch this week. It's called Old Man's Journey.
Yeah, a very popular iOS game.
Yeah. Have you played Old Man's Journey?
I have not. I've only seen some clips of it, and I was like, "Wow, I need to play this game." And when we were talking about Game of the Year stuff last year, or I guess part of our best of, when we were talking about the mobile category, this is one that stuck out a lot for people.
Oh, really?
It's beautiful. Like it's so stylized, and like the way that you play this game is different from any other game that I've ever played. Maybe you guys could say differently, but it's just like the idea is that this old man is walking and doing a journey. He's going on a
Journeying
journey.
around.
Oh man,
And the idea is that you have to change the environment that he's in to like get from point A to point B, which I thought was really cool. And it looks like they make this artwork with like I'm assuming it's digital painting, but it's so intricately done, and I just love it. I love looking at this. I love the backstory.
yeah.
I love this is a game that I would totally suggest getting if you're into something more calming and you're like, you know what, I've totally am done with playing Layers of Fear Legacy. I'm just gonna go on a journey as an old man, and don't mind me.
Yeah, it's great. Like obviously the footage you're looking at TV mode footage right now if you're watching the video podcast, but this game is really best played in handheld mode, and
Yeah.
it's because of the touch screen. Because the primary game mechanic right here is essentially you're building a pathway for your old man who you kind of control. It's kind of like a point and click adventure game, except you have to build pathways for him to be able to cross. So it's a little puzzly in that aspect, and I definitely had some spots where I just was scratching my head for a while, just trying to figure out how to make this old guy herd some sheep so he can get through a certain area. But like I said, like Lily was saying, actually, it's very relaxing to play. It's just one of those games that you can throw on and kind of mindlessly play while some TV show is going on in the background or a movie or whatever. Yeah. So it's very quiet,
Definitely
laid back.
something to relax with.
Yeah, exactly. So
Another thing to relax with that I want to talk about that is not new.
yes, let's talk about.
Stardew Valley. So like
Yay.
after we got playing Payday 2, I just kept going back to Stardew. Recently, the developer announced that they are looking to have their multiplayer beta go live in spring. Like they confirmed this like a while ago, but they just updated us and saying, hey, this is still happening. I don't think the beta is going to be on Switch. I don't see a world
Right.
where that would happen. Probably a PC beta. But even with that, it's like a reminder to like, hey, make sure your
farm's
doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so I played on PC and then moved to Switch with the intention of kind of keeping my permanent farm on Switch, even though I had like 80 hours on PC,
Yeah.
letting it go. And coming on here because I'm just so excited to play multiplayer on Switch because I know some of my friends also have their farms going.
Yeah.
And like I just want to make sure mine's in a good place.
Yeah.
Because it's so exciting and it's such a calming game, guys. I don't know if you're not playing Stardew Valley on Switch, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, no, I mean definitely it's such a fun game. I'm kind of sad that I never got like too into that game.
Well, now you
I'm
can.
disappointed in you.
Yeah, like I think once the online update drops, I'm gonna give it another shot and try and go in there fully because it's totally right up my alley. Like I love those kind of games that you can just build a second life in, essentially. You know,
as a farmer.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Farming things.
Yeah.
Getting married.
So many options. In the post, I believe they posted on February 17th, they keep teasing little bits from the update because in addition to multiplayer, they're having other features and they're going to add signs, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's like a nice way to label crops and stuff and like maybe player houses just because you'll have more people interacting with your farm and you maybe don't want them to touch something or that kind of thing. Another way to communicate. And I think that particularly works well with Switch since, we don't know how voice functionality, if there will be any specifically for Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
But just like cool stuff like that.
Can you send mail to each other in that game?
I don't know. We don't know
Pen
yet.
pals.
That would be really cool.
I'd want to be pen
Kind
pals.
of like on Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Hey, come
so-
check out my farm. I've got some good crops.
yeah. I really hope we get a new Animal Crossing soon.
Yeah, it's good
Just
to
throwing
see.
that out there, but completely random.
But until then, we do have Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
fun.
I know there's a lot of those like farming simulator games kind of coming to Switch as well. I think the Harvest Moon creator just announced like a new game as well, which looks super cute and is also announced for Switch. And I'm just like, yes, give it to me on Switch.
Exactly.
I want to know what more, because it's like a deluxe edition. So it's like, what's the deluxe part about? And they're like, more information coming soon. I was like, but what is the deluxe edition about?
Yeah.
I'm into it. I'm
Dragons.
all into it. Here's my money. Here's my down payment on this game. What is this deluxe edition about?
Yeah.
But they won't tell you. And I'm like, oh man.
Well, hopefully they let the cat out of the bag soon, because I'm dying to find out myself. But yeah, absolutely. So I did want to save some extra time here for a couple extra questions from Question Block, because we ran out of time last week. So, and we got some good ones here for you guys. So yeah, if you do have any questions for us in the future, our email is nvc@ign.com. So make sure you send in your questions there, or you can find us on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you see NVC. But let's jump into the first question. This one comes to us from Rad. He says, hey all, or he or she, I'm actually not sure. Hey all, just a quick question for some of the parent gamers out there. I have a 9-month-old and a 6-year-old daughter. I'm finding it really hard to play the games I used to, aka Zelda, Xenoblade, as I have hardly any time on my hands. After purchasing the Switch, it has allowed for me to have a little more, as the portability really compensates for not feeling like I am not spending adequate time with my family. I am really enjoying Celeste at the moment and the infamous Darkest Dungeon. Are there any other quick games that don't involve 32 pages of dialogue and cutscenes to actually grab my attention that you could recommend? So I think this is a pretty good question.
Stardew Valley.
We were just talking about one of those games.
Really, I think that would be a good one because you can play it day by day.
Yeah.
Since you have very marked seasons and stuff, and like you can work towards certain objectives, but there's not a lot of
Take your time with them.
right. Yeah, like you don't have to jump into the narrative of Stardew Valley. Like if you don't want to have a relationship with the townspeople, you don't have to, and like you can kind of just farm on your own, or you can go dungeon crawl every day if you want.
Oh yeah.
Just as long as you're making money somehow. So I think that could be a good solution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
But the only problem there is that you can't save whenever you have to save by going to sleep. But I think days are short enough if you play them right. And you can also just power it down super quick.
Yeah.
Get to sleep.
That's true. And that's the beauty of the Switch, is like you can power it down anytime and pick it up again wherever you left off. So, but I don't know. I think if I could recommend any games right now, like a lot of the smaller indie titles, like obviously SteamWorld Dig 2 is a fantastic game. You can pick up and play. It doesn't have too many cutscenes. It has dialogue, but you don't really have to follow the story at all if you want to just play through it real quickly. Also, Mr. Shifty is another great pick up and play game that I loved on Switch that came out a little while ago. So yeah, things like that. I don't know. Lily, do you have any suggestions?
I'm trying to think. I know he or she said, not many cutscenes. I don't know. I feel like if you want like some time to relax, maybe Old Man's Journey might be a good one, because it is
Totally.
It is thought provoking, and it's also very relaxing. You can turn it off anytime you want to. There's no like issues with that. I can't really think, because most of the games I play like are like into the woods. Like they have a lot
of dialogue.
A lot of story.
Yeah, it's a good adventure game. I
So
don't know, like
I got Old
maybe
Man's Journey for you.
Battleship Brigade could be fun too. Like that's a lot more quick matches because you are timed in cooking food.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, it's a very fun indie game that I also love on my Switch. That you are essentially in a food competition with other chefs, and you're trying to qualify to be in part of the brigade. There are some more long narrative stuff at the beginning, but as you get into it, you kind of just start going back into the battles and focusing on that.
Yeah.
So it'd be good.
Yeah,
Hopefully
definitely.
those are
Also,
good
it's just an awesome
suggestions
game.
for you.
So
It is an awesome game for
I
sure.
love that so
I
much.
have yet to play it. I'm sorry.
Play it. It's so good.
I ended up playing Doki Doki Literature Club instead.
That's good too.
Oh man,
Both great games.
I don't know if it was worth it.
Really? Well, anyway, it's a discussion for another time.
Okay. All right, let's move on down the row here. All right, next question comes to us from Tyler from Oklahoma. Tyler says,
Oklahoma.
Dear IGN crew, do you think the recent rise of indie games will have an impact on the price of bigger franchises in the future? For instance, I am finding it harder and harder to spend $50 or $60 on a game when there are so many good indie games to choose from that are all priced around $20.
No.
Yeah, no.
No, I think they're going to keep their prices up there. And I think it's fair too, because a lot of times like these AAA games are developed by massive studios with a lot of people to pay.
Yeah.
So you do kind of need to make sure your price is at the right place for
Yeah.
that product that you're going to buy.
Oh, totally.
But that doesn't mean that and there's not a lot of work that go into games. There's like tremendous work that goes into them as well. I think that just because of maybe how the production goes, they generally have lower prices.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the type of game. Like I know I would spend $50 or $60 on, Odyssey or Zelda, but I don't know. I feel like there are certain indie games that have the same quality as Mario and Zelda, but I'm perfectly fine spending $20 with them. And then there are games like Mario and Zelda, and then like other games that will come in the future, like Wolfenstein 2, where I'm like, I know the quality, I know that I'm gonna love the game, I'm gonna drop that money for it. It's a complicated like seesaw of indie games that are great, that are up to par as Mario and Zelda. And yeah, I get the idea. I get it. It's hard. It's a hard bargain for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with both of you, honestly. Like, I think Miranda, I don't know. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that the prices aren't going to drop. Because I honestly, if anything, I see them raising or getting higher in the future as we go on. Yeah. I mean, video games right now are actually pretty cheap compared to what they were like 20, 30 years ago,
Yeah. I mean, put it also into perspective is like how much time are you putting into them too? Like,
right.
A lot of these bigger $60 games, it's like sometimes you can have 100 hours,
right?
Compared to like how much you spend on a movie ticket. Like how much do you spend on your total adventure to a movie?
That's true.
And it's like keeping things in perspective too, because like I know sometimes we get worried about price for products, but we also want to remember that we're paying people for their creations. Like this is someone's work, and they should get paid for it.
Exactly.
Like that's like a thing with Doki Doki Literature Club. I was so surprised that it's free. Like it's just straight up free.
It's because they're making another game.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but they could still have charged like $5 for it.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, everyone buy the fan pack so that you can support the developers and give them money and pay for their work, because like I think that's really important too. Yeah. Totally different thing, but no, I don't think they're going to lower prices because there's like the scale, right? Of the amount of people they have working on it, I guess the number of people they have working on it, and the breadth of the game as well.
I wonder if the sequel is going to be like have a price to it, or if it's going to be free.
Sequel to Doki Doki.
Doki Doki, yeah.
It's probably going to be a different game.
Yeah.
So
that's a horror game.
I'm going to say that's a whole different conversation. Sorry. Sorry. There's a lot.
There's a lot to talk about with that. Yes. Yeah. All right, let's keep moving down the line here again. So this next question comes to us from somebody named Philip, another Philip. What? He says, "Hey Philip, great name." That's what he said, not me. And the NVC team, love the show. On several episodes recently, various people have commented on playing Switch while traveling to Japan or across the country. Someone commented about looking forward to playing Dragon Quest Builders on an upcoming 10-hour flight. I was wondering, how is this possible? Well, I have a very, very just quick answer for you, and that is battery packs. Definitely bring a battery pack with you when you're traveling. There are some cool ones that you can just clip onto your Switch. I know Anchor, I believe, makes one, and so does Nyko. But I also think that just like a portable, like separate battery or power bank that has a cord running through it that you just clip into one side of the power bank and then, clip into your Switch on the other works well. It'll buy you at least, like, depending on how many milliamps you have, like a 20,000 milliamps should get you at least, I want to say 3 hours, if not longer than that. So doubling your Switch's battery life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just hope that there's an outlet. I usually check that before I get on my flight, because you can check online on your flight what amenities your plane has, because there's no way I want to carry a massive battery pack with me and already like a bunch of other stuff.
That's true.
So like that's my thing. Like I understand if you're going on like really long flights, like that'd be cool too. But usually on those really long flights, you do have outlets.
Right.
So
international flights.
At least for me. Yeah. And like for most cross country flights I've been on as well, as those have outlets.
You've been on some nice planes.
That's questionable.
No. But yeah, I mean, there are some planes that do have outlets. So if you find a plane with an outlet, definitely use that. But whenever I travel, I always travel with a power bank.
And like there's plenty out there too. Like you just, of course, want to do the research and make sure you're getting the right ones too. Because sometimes your Switch could charge your power bank instead. No, you don't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't someone like plugged in their Switch to their laptop and started charging their laptop?
That has happened before.
I think I've seen that.
Weird.
Yeah. It's like just making sure you're getting the right.
Because if you get a USB Type-C to USB Type-C and plug one end to a Switch and the other end into like the new MacBook Pro, it'll charge your MacBook Pro. That happened to me actually.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, it's really weird and scary.
The battery packs.
All right, we got one more question here. This one comes to us from Kyle L. Kyle asks, he says, "Hi NVC crew.
Hello.
I have a question that's a little more on the silly side.
Yes.
But I'd love to hear your response. Nintendo has to know about Waluigi's fame and infamy on the internet. They've developed other characters in the past, assigning them different attributes that have been fleshed out into full game concepts. Think Wario and his greed, Luigi being scared, etc. Up to this point, Waluigi has just been another playable character in sports games and doesn't really have a personality.
What?
Do you think that the Big N should capitalize on his notoriety among the millennial Tumblr crowd? And if so, what would a Waluigi-centric game look like? What would be his hook?
If any of the various side characters were to get a game, I'd want it to be Ashley.
Ashley?
She's awesome.
Oh,
from
she's-
WarioWare.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so cool.
Okay.
But we're talking about Waluigi. And
Yeah, I know.
Waluigi has personality. If you have played him in any of the Mario parties, he either talks about how number one he is, and he goes, Waluigi, number one.
Yeah, I'm a number one.
Or he pulls out a rose from nowhere. So I think he's just a true romantic that just wants to get with all the ladies. So I think a dating sim for Waluigi is going to happen.
That'd be so good.
Dating
That or, like,
sim with Waluigi in it. Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
That would be so hilarious and so funny. And that's maybe not focusing on the PG version.
No, you can still keep that PG.
Yeah,
like,
but just think
with
about it.
some good nods there. You can do that.
I would just love that, right? Like, and then there's always the meme of what is it, Waluigi's taco stand?
Oh, God.
That's one of them. So you can go with both of those, but I think a dating sim with Waluigi is where I'm resting my.
So either a Waluigi dating sim or a Waluigi taco stand simulator is what you're saying.
food-
I think Nintendo
truck
loves
simulator?
both of those ideas. That's what I think.
Oh,
Food truck
those would be
simulator.
good for like their mobile initiative as
Yeah.
well. So.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
That would be a good
just
idea.
saying.
Just for them to test out some of those like side characters and put them on mobile.
How do you guys feel about Waluigi? Because I know that it's true. Waluigi has this like fame that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's like just up there with like Wario or?
He's kind of weird because I don't give him much thought.
Yeah.
I think more about dry bones, if
Yeah.
anyone. I love dry bones.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see him get his own spotlight and maybe to bring him to my mind more. I don't know. Like, I think I would care more about him if he did have his own game.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I mean,
it's
that's like why I care about Wario is because Wario doesn't own any games.
Yeah, WarioWare.
It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. Totally. I mean, Waluigi has always been like in Mario Kart or Mario Tennis or anything like that, but he's never been the star of his own game, so we don't really connect with his personality as much. I guess most people don't, but it would be cool to
For that
like,
Tumblr crowd, they got it.
yeah,
Waluigi's fancy mansion.
Some
instead
crazy
of a
memes.
haunted mansion.
Yeah, he has to do.
And he doesn't know what to
Luigi's
do with it. He's
opposite,
like,
so.
how do I handle this?
He's like, oh yes, I should host my own version of The Bachelor. That's what he does.
Intro dating
the
sim.
setup for
So
the
that's the
dating
name.
sim.
That's the name of the dating sim. It's Waluigi's fancy mansion. And it's inside of this game is a dating sim. There you go,
my
Nintendo.
God.
We made it for you.
All right, you can send your checks to IGN right here in San Francisco. Thanks, Nintendo. All right, well, that's our show this week. Thank you all very, very much for watching and listening. We're a weekly show on IGN.com, but we're also on YouTube and any of your favorite podcast listening services. So definitely make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or the services if you aren't already. So thank you very much for joining me today this week, ladies, and we
Thank
will
you.
see
Thank
you
you.
guys next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.